Short night, long flight for France's Olympic heroes who are back on home soil and at the French presidential palace. They've returned from Rio with the best haul in their history, 42 medals, and the red carpet treatment at the presidential palace, where we join our very own Elliot Richardson. Elliot, what's the latest where you are?
Okay, Francois, so they're all still inside the presidential palace at the moment. The only Olympian to come out on her phone with a medal around her neck is Amandine Leno, the handball goalkeeper of the women's French handball team. Basically, she's the only one to have actually exited the palace out onto the streets. All the others are still inside, but around about 50 minutes or so ago, we saw them all arrive with the likes of Christophe Lemaitre and Tony Yoka and Estelle Maselli, all the equestrian gold medalists as well, all with their medals gleaming round their neck, to huge hordes of cheers outside with red, a sea of blue, a sea of white as well, with flags everywhere. It really was a carnival-like atmosphere around about 50 or so moments ago, but all inside at the moment with the president.
And as you were saying, Elliot, the French breaking ground with medals they hadn't had in a long time in sports like equestrianism and some of the key athletic events.
Absolutely. With equestrian, there were 2 gold medals, boxing 2 golds as well, judo 2 golds, boxing 6 medals in total, judo 5 medals in total. Japan were actually the only side to have fared better in the judo with 12 medals. Nobody's ever going to catch the Japanese, but France were the second best nation in that event. So I think the big disappointment, Francois, was the swimming this year. I mean, 4 gold medals in London in the pool, none this year in Rio. That was one of the disappointments, but France have excelled in other sports that perhaps we didn't expect them to, and also a surprise bronze medal as well for Christophe Lemaitre in that 200-meter final, perhaps capping all of this off.
And you were mentioning the enthusiasm outside among fans. They're hoping the organizers will bode well for Paris's bid to host the Games in 2024.
Absolutely. I think that it's still obviously up against Budapest, Rome and Los Angeles, but I think that the French talent is certainly there, and I think with perhaps a little bit more money ploughed in, perhaps France should be looking upwards. They were 7th in the medals table this year. In fact, they haven't been outside the top 10 in the medals table since Los Angeles back in 1984. So there is room for improvement for France, and we have got a lot of good athletes in this country and ones that youngsters can look up to, and perhaps with a little bit more funding, France can be looking upwards to the likes of Germany and Great Britain, who have shown how it's done this year.
All right, Elliot Richardson reporting live there from the French presidential palace. And while the French celebrate, the Russians are crying foul. The world's sporting